Okay, we're recording. Welcome back to almost like Queen of Embers. Like we played it for so long, like it's still like in my head. On 69, nice. Welcome back to Memento Mori. Yeah, Memento Mori. We're on session 5. We've been playing for a little bit now. This is our 5th week. Well, technically, I guess 6th week because we did a session 0.
It's been on again, off again. Yeah.
Yeah. We are down. Of course, Sarah's out. This is her first of 2 weeks of her bar, so she's out tonight. And then Tim's in the middle. Has an open wall exposed to the world where he's trying to frame it up before it rains. He's redoing his bathroom. So Tim's out too. But we'll be back to normal capacity in a couple weeks because Nick's out next week. But nonetheless, we're gonna still play. We always play at least 4 people. We've done so far. I think we talked about this before. It's like June, July, August always are just like, because August is like a vacation month in general for, and then July is typically kind of funky too. But we're playing nonetheless. So before we get started, we're going to get started. Let's roll for coin. Let's roll for fortune points. Everybody grab a d6. Roll the beautiful bean footage. I only get 1 misfortune. You all get 4 fortune to start with tonight. So we've actually already rolled initiative. We have it on our initiative tracker over here. We're not using little name tags. You all can't see it, but maybe when the camera swings around it'll show it. But we rolled initiative off camera because Kay was so kind to write everyone's names on these erasable name tags that are magnetic that we can place on the whiteboard. So we'll get that out of the way. Let's just jump in. Let's talk about what happened last game session. We know it was definitely the end of like the first part of Memento Mori, first of many parts, but some pretty critical things happened. Let's talk about what that was.
Yeah. We went on an adventure.
Let's go on an adventure! That's right.
We went up to follow up on the lead for the graveyard. And
I went to the mausoleum.
Yeah. We went to the mausoleum where things were not as we expected. We thought there was some sort of dog racket going on that we were going to put a stop to, and there was definitely something that was going on. We got there, the gate was broken from the inside of the mausoleum outwards, which is always a cause for concern. And then I smartly stayed outside.
Yeah, Lester was like, I'm not going in. I'll watch the graveyard.
I see where this is going. I'll stay out here.
That's right.
And so that's where these fine fellas saw a very visceral scene.
What happened inside the mausoleum? Who wants to pick it up?
Yeah.
Inside the mausoleum, there was a grisly display of a person brutally ripped to pieces.
And burned.
Who was the person?
The person was Chief Mortician Merle Basco.
The person that we were trying to catch in the act of trading for dogs. Yeah, now he had a letter or a piece of writing in his hand, I think, but at the moment I can't remember what exactly it said.
So basically, when Sabella took a look at it, it stated that Merle had a bone to pick or vengeance that he wanted to go for. Yeah, I know. Right when I said it. Anyways, he wanted to go after the new head of the augurs. Her name is Isla? Something like that? Celsia. He was mad at Celsia for basically taking his right as he saw it. And when someone, we don't know who, came to him and said, hey, I will give you the means if you follow my God instead. I'll give you the means to take her out. Since she is your enemy now, And so they gave him like components basically to transform the dogs into hell beasts.
From Witchstone.
Yeah, which turned against him and then ripped him to shreds.
He had
and burned
a
him.
doggone bad time.
Dog on a bad day.
Oh, yeah.
Because the dog ran away. Get it?
God.
Oh, boy.
So instead of dealing with
Good
something that none of us knew what it was, because what the hell's a bar guest, we went out to try to find a night watch to help with it or take care of it, and came upon a scene with Celsia and the night watchman where like it was just a slaughter or something that happened in the street.
Murder.
Yes.
Most foul.
Yes.
Garden variety street murder.
We told Celsia what was going on the night watch. We're like, we have things to do. Instead of trying to hunt down a gigantic dog that could possibly set the entire city on fire and destroy a lot of people, we gotta take these drunk people away.
How many night watch exist in Slaughter Pine? You all remember?
It was like a dozen?
Like
20.
20.
20,
Yeah.
yes. Not that many.
No.
A city of 7,000 souls.
So, we ended up taking Celsia back to show her the crypt and showed her the note. And then she's like, oh, I'll be fine then. You guys go off and find the dog. And I just walked off, presumably to be okay, because that's what happens to NPCs when they leave and say they'll be fine sometimes. And we tracked
We
the
didn't
dog.
want to hound her.
We haven't even started, guys.
Oh, it started.
You're right, it did. Anyway. But, yeah, we started tracking the dog then to a break in the fence.
Well,
A break in the palisade. It wasn't even just like a little fence. It was like the wall.
Fence?
Yeah.
so who led the way through the Pine Expanse to track down the mutt,
I think I
the
did.
Barghast?
You did, blinded, actually. Funny enough.
He edited a situation.
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
you did.
I
Okay,
was
okay.
blind, and then
But now you can
I
see.
keep forgetting that you can do that. And then I think
Previously blinded.
eventually I will learn.
Learn you some
Yeah.
rules.
Yeah, it's. I mean, what they say, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Well, we'll see. And so, yeah, we went to. We followed the trail with dogged determination, and we came to a river and crossed the river. Some of us, did freestyle. Some of us dog paddled. And
You're
then,
just reaching at this point.
yep.
Okay.
Well, sometimes they say I don't make enough puns, so I'm just marking my territory. So, we reached the clearing.
We may drive Kay away from the table. We should.
I don't mind if they're clever, but when you're just digging for numbers at this point.
So
Digging, you said.
Yeah, in this case.
And plus, if anyone's going to drive Kay away, it's going to be me, because I drove tonight.
All right.
That's true.
So I know.
That's pretty good.
All right.
the dad
Fine.
jokes.
I got it. I'm barking up the wrong tree.
Yes.
So we got to the clearing and we found the dog. And
The Barghast.
We the Barghast. And we thought, hey, this could be the dog we're looking for. So was it you or you that tried to call out to the dog and
I
with the
did.
squeaky toy?
I did.
Sabella.
Yeah,
Sabella.
Yeah,
Sabella did.
Sabella, and then Ecclestav, and myself were the ones.
Yeah, we went up front, but yeah, Sabella's the one that started off calling.
And
Squeaky.
so we were befriending it, and finally Chuckles knew what he had to do, because that dog all it ever wanted from Chuckles was to be pet, and Chuckles never would. And finally, he bent down and pet the dog, even though it was on fire and burning. Then that was enough to bring the dog to heel.
Right. Kind of once it had happened, it slipped out of that weird black oily hellhound casing, and beneath was the wet matted fur of the lovable mutt you know as Rufus. But that's not all that happened in the clearing. Something else happened too.
There was a shillelagh that was in the circle of mushrooms, and the mushrooms had went away, but the shillelagh had sprouted blossoms.
Flowers.
Yeah, flowers, yeah. And they're a weird purplish color.
Yeah,
I think.
I think
Yeah.
so, yeah.
And so Eagles-Dove took a liking to that, and Chuckles took it as a sign to that he was able to make himself another wicker mask, which we haven't gone into a ton of detail about, but
Let's cover what happened with Eagles-Dove first before we get to that. That's a pretty critical... Yours is a critical story point, which happened at the very end, but Eagles-Dove experienced like
a vision.
A vision, yeah, from like she was wearing the mask of a sea otter and walking through a much younger version of the Lockwood. And this person who she was inside, who she learned was named the Aquatanian, was carrying a fishing pole and came to a lake and washed his face, and that's when she saw his features, because he took the mask off, because she was seeing through his eyes like John Malkovich style. She was as the Aquatanian. And then when she put the mask back on and looked toward the sky, there was like just pitch black darkness as the eternal night came. But the forest was significantly younger. It was not the forest that you're in whatsoever. And she awoke from that vision, and there were two words that kind of stuck out to her. That the first thing that she said, in fact, when she awoke out of the vision, which was two strange words, An and Teth, that she knew was something important, but she didn't know what. And she, of course, was heavily imperiled from that. I think she suffered 27 peril, in fact, due to the vision. And then that's when Chuckles kind of took off his iron mask, and they discovered that the key was actually decorative. The lock was decorative, not actually. It was not actually encased in the iron. And what did they see?
They saw the face of a sea otter. And yeah, not even Eagles-Dove knew that he was sea otter. The only person that did was William Thornton. Wilson Thornton. And yeah, so he took all this as a sign that he was ready to don the wicker mask again, because he had decided that for some reason or another he would wear a metal one.
That's right. So you gathered up like bits of deadfall and wicker and reeds and things like that here in a strange clearing. And from there, with Lester had Rufus on his shoulders, you ready to proceed back to Slaughterpine, in the midst of the eternal night, knowing that your oil supplies would be completely expended by the time you returned back to the walls of the city. And that is precisely what happens. By the time you make it back into Slaughterpine, back into the city, in the same large yawning opening that you came through, that palisade that had been burst through and destroyed by little old Rufus, who's like a big old medium-sized mud over your shoulders, you come back into the graveyard. And you can hear the rumbling of what sounds like wagon wheels somewhere within the graveyard along the cobbled road. You see the gravestones rising here and there, the mausoleum. In fact, you can see the Berrybrook mausoleum there. And as you're coming back into the settlement, you're not really sure what time it is. You know that you're tired. You know that. You can't see the stars nor the moon. It's just pitch black overhead. And the little oil you have left in your lantern is kind of slowly winking out. So be sure to mark up all your oil and your torches on your character sheets upon return. Your supplies have been expended. But as you're coming, you still have enough light to get back to Big Corey's when the time is right. But for now, you're passing by the Berrybrook Mausoleum, and you can see that there are a handful of augurs of the custodian, clerics of the custodian, wearing these drab-looking gray robes with these kind of high collars and heavy hoods. And you can hear them kind of chanting, I guess, as Chief Augur Celsnia Turnlip, she has in her hand like this large like bronze censer that she's swinging back and forth with this smoldering embers inside of it that smells of frankincense as they're attempting to cleanse the mausoleum. The bloodied footprints have dried in the mud and muck. As you pass by the mausoleum, they've already moved the iron gate that was destroyed. You can see that there's been hundreds of candles placed inside the Berrybrook mausoleum, fully illuminating the interior of it. And the body that was there is gone, but nothing remains but like this kind of soapy, foamy stone where one of the younger itinerant clerics of the custodian is scrubbing the floor clean of the chief mortician's blood. There's kind of a somber affair as they are literally cleansing the place or reconsecrating it to the custodian, which is of no great surprise given the gravity of what's happened here. And up on, let's see. So, as you're kind of, perfect, they have some chanting here on. Just want chanting. Why can't YouTube help me here? I was trying to look at some chanting. We need a DJ for our game. That's what we need. Wouldn't that be cool?
DJ and chanting.
I think that probably live actual plays probably have DJs. I'd assume. Sponsored by Sirenscape. So yeah, there is some sort of ceremony happening as you come back, and the chief augur, she finishes her ceremony almost in the time it takes for you to get from one side of the graveyard toward where they're at, toward the entrance where the Berrybrook mausoleum is, and the priests are kind of the augurs of the custodian are gathered around her. And she breaks away, and her eyes are wide as she's sweating profusely, as you noticed just the night before when you had seen her. By the time you all arrive back at Slaughterpine, you are incredibly tired. You're all suffering from sleep deprivation. Everyone needs to reduce their peril by 7. You all suffer 7 mental peril. And you're tired.
Remain unhindered.
To some degree, you kind of grown accustomed to these strange times. Now that it is 30 days since the Eternal Night fell. Celsnia approaches, and her eyes are wide, and she says, she looks astonished, and she says, you're alive.
I appreciate the confidence, but yes, we are.
You thought you were sending us to our deaths?
Don't know what to expect in truth. Whatever business, terrible business, in fact, that that the mortician, she wouldn't even call him by his name, that the mortician was involved in. It seems that only you could have solved it. You have my deepest of gratitude.
You are welcome.
The unfortunate thing is that we can't dwell here too long. We did use all of our supplies for lighting. So,
She pauses for a moment and dismisses the other augurs, the other priests that they've studied. Would you walk with me back to the house? Please.
And Sabella kind of looks around at everybody to see if anybody seems to be against that. Seeing that nobody seems particularly against it.
Hiram kind of rolls his eyes and shrugs.
Lester's kind of hoping for like maybe a hot meal or something.
I suppose, though, we are quite exhausted at this point, so hopefully this won't take too long.
It shot not. First, to speak of what happened, and then to your reward we spoke of. Please tell me, she inquires genuinely. What happened? What did you see out there? She produces a wet cloth that she's clearly been like dabbing her brow with. Probably often, as it's deeply stained, as is her hood. Like this woman constantly is profusely sweating. Her skin is pale as a cadaver. Her hair is black as midnight. And her robes brown and stained with sweat. She even smells a bit sweaty.
Well, you're probably gonna want to let your friends know in the Night's Watch that the palisade's been broken, and they probably need to go repair that.
she kind of she laughs a bit. Were it only that the Night Watch would, as I'm sure you can tell, and please forgive me, Lady Sabella, the city is in arrest. She looks toward the sky. All of Slaughterpine is in disarray and chaos. I did make formal inquiries into Bargetown, but I have not got my hopes up that they will come anytime soon.
Well, someone needs to probably fix that hole, because it leads right into, your graveyard almost. But that large creature did manage to break through it, so that's the first thing you probably need to take care of. Or someone needs to, at the very least. But we found the creature and calmed its spirit and brought it back. I don't know.
She
Rufus
wipes.
is fine.
She points at the dog. Lester's back.
Now. He's not as hot now.
You've dispelled the evil, she says, like, stopping in her tracks. How?
Some things don't really bear much explanation. We just did it.
We did it with the power of friendship.
I mean, kinda, yeah.
The power of karate and friendship for everyone.
Yeah.
She's kind of dumbfounded at this, like, not even sure what to say.
It was Rufus. We had to bring him back.
The truth sayers at the Temple of the Learned would certainly probably know more of this Barghest, as you call it, as
I didn't call it that.
as the mortician called it. She corrects herself.
There you go. I don't know what the hell that thing was.
To put it differently, Lady Sabella knew deep down inside that the dog was still there, and that we know the dog. So she figured if she squeak toy, if she talk to it, we all do things that dog would recognize us by. Eventually it would be able to fight for itself. I think that is what happened.
Speaking of which, where's Bug?
Plus,
Last
I'm
I
just
checked,
saying.
under your arm.
No. I left Bug with her.
Oh,
Where's
the
Bug?
pup is in the house of Augurs. That's why I wanted to, partially I wanted to bring you there, but also to hear your fascinating story.
I suppose.
as we all know, hellhound is kind of an oxymoron because all dogs go to heaven, right? So they can't be any hellhounds.
I mean, it sure looked like a hellhound. Like, what, I guess.
I mean, it was kind of on fire.
Yeah.
The whole thing and
Ooze.
ooze and him burning his hands and whatnot. Yeah, I mean,
But Rufus lives at Big Court, so Barghest.
Yeah.
She seems really taken in by this, like genuinely taken in by the story. She's clearly out of her depth.
the dog works at a bar. It was a bar guest.
Isn't he more of a bar worker?
We like to throw bar guests out.
Maybe that's
So
what
it
he
threw
did.
out
He
the
threw
bar
the
guest.
bar guest out. See? There you go. I mean, if you really wanted to know.
With the
He
power
did
of
it.
friendship.
And squeaky toys.
I would not recommend the same for all situations that include people being possessed or things being possessed.
She
Worked for us.
nods, kind of listening.
I mean, there's not really much else to say.
Well, you have our thanks. I hope this is enough to at least repay you for your trouble. As you arrive at the gray, silent stone building that is the House of Augurs, and she takes you into the antechamber, she brings Bug, the small gray and white spotted mutt, outside, and she produces kind of a she pulls out a box from underneath the altar, and produces 10 gold crowns. She thinks for a moment. Where the Night Watch cannot do, it is good to know that there are people in Slaughterpine who care for the well-being of its people. Even in the midst of the eternal night, know that there are few in this city, save for yourselves, who would go out of your way to do such a thing. And we, being the custodians, the dead, know aught of possession and supernatural creatures, but in my eyes, you are heroes, she says, and it should be celebrated, and people should know.
Right. Just out of curiosity, so your god doesn't do the whole flaming dog thing, but who would?
But God, she says,
Well, I mean, that's what the letter said, right? He said that if you serve my god, he'll bring you a flaming dog.
There are
so-
some that would call imposters gods
Okay,
because
so
they want to consider themselves equal to the gods.
all right. Well, what imposter god, whatever, makes dogs set on fire?
she thinks on this for a moment, and she says, in Mount Sawdust, she says, the truthsayers keep at the Temple of the Learner. They may know, but you know how truthsayers are. All Lornites are cagey.
Don't ever trust any.
It is not for us to dwell on the unnatural or otherworldly. It is our job as augurs to tend for the living and to ensure their safe passage into the afterlife. We are not keepers of such arcane things. She kind of her voice quivers a bit. Really, clearly she's frightened.
Hiram nods. Some things just better left to the Lornites. I'd rather not know.
Well, I mean, for us, it's maybe not something we'll run into again. I'm just pointing out, though, whoever god, imposter, whatever, flamey dog keeper, that person's coming after you, so
She nods.
that might be something for you to look into. We could just get Rufus back.
I read the letter, and
Just stating.
After reading the letter, I was heartbroken. She won't say his name. The chief mortician, as I said, was my teacher when I was younger.
Does he have any other folk he's been consorting with that you know about? Maybe you should watch your back around him.
The chief mortician's job is a lonesome one, much in the same sense that a village executioner would be. The mortician's hands are consecrated to deal with the dead. It is forbidden for anyone to give burial rites unless you have been properly blessed by the custodian. Only he was the only one in the city who had been blessed to take care of the dead, to see to their burial and their internment in the ossuaries, and that is a lonesome life. None, save for our own, tend to consort with us, and even then the mortician's role is sacred and lonely, she says.
Well, surely he takes a night off every now and then, quit his whistle, that whatnot. You know what I mean?
The life of a cleric does not allow as such, she says. We have avowed ourselves to the custodian and her work. We do not have families. We do not have lives outside of our sacred duty.
Well, I hear what you're saying, but this guy, as you can see by this note, he ain't doing it right with the custodian anymore. Maybe he's changing his schedule these days.
I was loath to go into his personal quarters, but they are just down the way, she says. I tried to bring myself to investigate on my own, but I was afraid of what I would find, if anything, she says, lowering her head.
Well, you may want to have someone look into that.
I think she's looking at us to look into it.
I suspect that this is not the last you will hear of these strange things in the eternal night, and for whatever reason, whatever twist of fate has brought us together at this moment, it seems that this is not the last of our interactions. I could be a friend, she says. There are many strange things that have befell Slaughterpine since the eternal night, and although you are not avowed to the custodian, I would certainly ensure that you are recompensed appropriately. If in fact this is what you wanted to do, she says.
Well, right now, I think what all of us need to do is go take a rest and think on this topic.
It's a mighty big decision to be making on this little sleep.
Agreed.
Of course, I did not mean to keep you. She hands you the coins at this point, and she gives each of you a very firm handshake. Her hands are cold and clammy and wet. She wipes sweat from her brow. Like, it's almost like the air is just, like, too hot, and it's easily autumn. But, well, you already know, Chuckles, that this woman is, like, this one thing she's known by. She's a profuse sweater. Mm-hmm. But she does look, she is pale as a waterlogged corpse. Her hair is so dark, it just makes her look even paler. Especially with the sweat-stained robes.
So it was 10 total.
10 gold crowns total, that's right.
So how do we split that 6 ways? Wait, I guess we can do that.
For now, Sabella will just keep the excess. We give everybody 1 gold until we can cash it out and figure out how to break it up.
I take my gold and I give it to, I hold it in hand and say, Sasnia. And I look at Chief Augur Sasnia. You may be in trouble still. We may need this for some other reason that may be yet to come. I know we don't agree on all things source, but you may find more use for this than I hand a gold crown back.
She will lower her head and nod, her eyes meeting yours, but she won't share any words.
All right, well, try not to work yourself to death.
Where were you be? That's hilarious. May I ask if
That was a good one. I will give you that one.
if we were to make if we were to make inquiry, where do you stay? Where do you keep kept?
Quarry, the big quarry. It's usually where we are. If
pet-
nothing else, just ask for Isla. She can get hold of us usually. But we
Thank
need
you.
to get back to her.
Of course. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, we're doggone tired.
You already used that one once.
I know.
Repeating, recycling. I appreciate your environmental impact.
Well, I know my dogs are tired.
There we go. There's a new one.
So it doesn't take too long until you get back to Big Corey's pub, and as you walk in, it's actually it's fairly quiet. There's a woman kind of sweeping the floor. Most of the patrons have bled out of Big Corey's. Right as you come inside and you see the woman who would normally take your coats and cloaks, you look toward the clock, and it looks like it's sometimes toward 11 in the morning. But you feel incredibly tired. Do you all wish to stay for the evening?
Yeah.
Is Isla there so we can deliver her dog back?
She is. You can see that she seems to be in a bit. I'm sorry, she's not. We'll assume she's not.
Okay.
We'll let you all sleep first.
So you said it was 11 in the morning?
Yep.
Right.
Okay. I'm gonna head to bed with Bug, and you can bring Rufus, because Sabella will get a private room again.
Okay.
She'll bring Rufus in, and if anybody else wants to stay with her.
Yep. She can seat one other person in the room. It's 5 shilling.
Sleep in the common room.
Sleep in the common room.
Common room's 1 shilling.
Yeah, I sleep in the common room.
Night above the stables is 6 brass pieces. Night in the back alley is 1 brass piece.
Actually, I'll stay above the stables then.
Okay.
It was how much?
6 brass.
Okay.
And then how much for regular?
Common room 1 shilling.
1 shilling.
So if you stay in a private room or a common room, you restore to unhindered. If you stay in the stables, you restore to imperiled.
Okay. I don't restore it all.
Why
So it doesn't matter.
is that?
I have a persecution complex. I can't rest to recover peril in urban environments.
I love that one. I
Unless you
have
take
that
drugs. Drugs, baby!
one. Yeah, I got laudanum.
Well, it's funny you should mention not being able to sleep. Specifically in Hiram's case. You all sleep soundly. But for Hiram, something else happens.
I got I got a money burning a hole in my pocket.
Yeah, that's not the case.
You might even be able to pay off part of your tab.
What? Come on.
For everybody else, as you're resting,
I already did that.
Hiram, you're kind of in and out of sleep. Like this is you have a very fitful night, and you find yourself back in the clearing, in the pine expanse, back where you saw the strange mushrooms and the staff. And as you look toward your friends, they appear as kind of shadows or leftovers, like remnants of where they once were, more like ash and darkness. You can't touch them, you can't really see them, you can't really talk to them. It's just kind of you in this clearing. And as you look ahead, positioned perfectly above you is the moon, like directly above you. And there's a strange light that is amid the clearing. And suddenly you see the foliage across from you where the trees were bare of pine needles. This undergrowth begins to shake and shamble. What are you going to do?
Gotta hide.
Okay. You go ahead and roll a stealth test. This will be This will be secret.
Okay. I'm going to ignore one skill rank, so my chance to succeed is 57. And I rolled an 80.
Gonna keep it or reroll?
I'll keep it.
Okay. Well, the foliage continues to shake and shudder, and then this huge shadow with these strange, spindly legs and this bloated, blood-red abdomen begins to approach. It is coming right toward you. This thing. What are you gonna do?
Well, I think I'm in a dream, so I'm going to alter the situation and grow in size to huge size.
So edit the situation.
Yeah.
Refused. It is nope. Can't do that.
Okay. All right. Well,
Who
I'm
said
trying.
who said you're in a dream?
I thought I was in a dream. That was what else was in my mind. I was attempting to do.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna start running then.
Okay. You turn around and you just sort of run directly into the woods and run away.
Yeah.
Okay. You begin to run as fast as your feet will take you, and you realize you have no light. You just run directly into pitch black night.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You run and you run and you run.
If I don't hear it behind me, I'm gonna climb a tree.
Yeah. You take several steps running through the woods, and suddenly you find yourself back in the clearing once again. And the shape seems to be crawling amid the trees. It's this dreadfully large, bloated spider the size of a dog. It seems to skitter forward with strange purpose, but without any sort of aggression. Its fangs don't chitter. It doesn't seem to be pursuing you so much as it is just kind of there with you. And as you're ready to clamber into the trees, you realize that despite the fact that the pine expanse had no light in 30 days, there are no needles on the trees. In fact, there's nothing but the gossamer webbing of this great spider that now lives here. You and she. There's this look in its strange eyes, almost like you're seeing an old friend. Like a look of recognition.
Gonna continue to watch it, keep my distance, but see what it does.
It's kind of suspended from the trees, kind of hanging there, holding on to the side of the tree, and it begins to kind of walk precariously across a branch that bends and bows beneath its great bloated weight.
What do you want with me?
You see the spider's eyes kind of slowly blink like a child's, like big, droopy, doe-eyed spider. And you see its jaw begin to open and close. Whispering sounds beneath its chittering fangs that at first sounds like the sound of locusts or the sound of cicadas, but eventually turns into words that make sense in your ears. And it says this strange soliloquy, I guess would be the best way to say it. It says, the puppy's cry brought you forth, but can you complete the hero's course? Find the quest where rain makes riches, where Cheswick's only son vanishes, where miners aren't allowed to go, where gardens of undead grow, where woodsmen's hunger for escape, where woods keep farmers wide awake, where tools and materials disappear, where a miner died in fear, or where a postal thief interferes. Face these tests to reveal more verses, to end the eternal night, curse of curses, and And much like you would imagine, like a stage magician to simply vanish with a flip of their cape and smoke, so too does the spider, revealing its bloated, red, bloody abdomen as it retreats back into the forest. And that's when you awaken. You think, at least. Because you're literally standing in the midst of big quarries, at its very busiest. Like, people kind of brush up against you, around you. Like, you're already downstairs, your breath is fresh. You've already brushed your teeth, you've already combed your hair. You've already seen to your morning things. Your friends have already finished their meals. You've already broke your fast for the next day. Lady Sabella, Lester Longarm, chuckles. For like, maybe just like 4 or 5 seconds, Chuckles kind of like loses him. Sorry, not Chuckles, I apologize. Hiram kind of just freezes in place. And then he kind of snaps out of it. Like, you were at, what question were you asking him, Chuckles?
You like my new mask?
He asked you a question like you never heard it before. But sure enough, Hiram, you're there. This was no dream.
I don't know yet. Next round's on me, as I shout loudly. I'm not drunk enough for this.
It's just a mask.
Just woke up.
Hey.
And, yeah, I, like, Chuckles is sitting there, full glory and all, with only the lower portion of his face covered. And so, you know...
He's not dressed like Sub-Zero? Is that like the lower mask? I don't understand.
Yeah, it's a lower mask, yeah. I mean, but it's not covering his ears, his eyebrows, his eyes, you know, any of that. It's just covering his nose and mouth.
Okay.
Like, he's not wearing a full wicker mask.
Yeah.
Because he's, like, he's ready to, like, be himself in front of people. And, like, the eyes that you used to see behind the mask that were pale blue, they look a little bit more sinister and definitely not human-like. They're definitely a lot more wide and angled than anything you've seen before. And it looks like he's giving everyone a dirty look no matter what he does or says. Just simply because they're so differently shaped, and you got to know him as what you thought was a human, and so it looks like he's angry when that's just the way his face is shaped.
So you've eaten your breakfast. You've already had a few drinks for the morning. What are you all gonna do?
I want to buy some more oil.
I want to see a person about a dog.
Yeah,
What does that mean?
Isla
Oh,
back.
Isla. Okay.
Like,
So
are you
do
kidding?
you all want to meet Isla first?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've
So
got Bug and Pudsey and Rufus with me now. I have a pack.
that's right.
So.
So Isla, Rufus, she says, as she leans down and the dog leaps up into her. The big dog like licks her face. I can't believe you found him, and he's alive. Oh, you're such a good boy. He's rubbing behind Rufus's ears. I can't thank you enough. I'm so thankful that you brought him back. Where in Slaughter Pine was the damnable animal? What did you get into?
Maybe some things are best left unsaid. I don't want to be distressing you and such.
She smiles. She clearly has some tears welling in her eyes, happy that Rufus has returned. The bandage on her head has been replaced with a bandage under her broad hat. She's just about to begin her shift. She's wearing like a long coat with golden buttons on it. She has a scarf around her neck, suiting the season. Her freckles are now there. She's still a little bit looks beat up. It's been a couple days, obviously, but you are friends true and through for certain, she says. She says, I think I've managed to talk Big Corey into letting you stay here as often as you like.
Yeah.
Don't we do that already?
Aye, but you have to pay the piper in the morning. No, Big Corey, I think she let you keep a private room here for the lot of you upstairs in the attic.
Oh.
Well, that sounds nice.
That was very kind of you.
I always figured I'd have myself a penthouse apartment eventually. Just didn't imagine it being an actual attic.
I can't believe that you got him back. I mean, I don't know what kind of fight those river rats put up, but I know that it didn't come easy, that's for sure, she says.
Nope.
It was worth it.
And Rufus has a friend now.
Rufus, you smell weird. You smell like sulfur and cinder. I have to give you a bath, boy. She's gonna rubbing underneath him. Like, slobber.
Yeah, you should probably give it a bath.
No telling what those river rats had them rolling in.
And where did you find that little cute one? She says as she looks at Bug.
Well, he was taken with Rufus, and I don't know who his, owner is, but I figured Rufus could probably use a friend around here.
Aye, and certainly lots of people in Bargetown come to Big Corey's. If someone's messing a dog, certainly we'll hear about it around here. Yeah. I mean, I haven't seen any posters put up anywhere for any missing dogs or anything, but there's no telling.
I mean, you don't find very many dogs named Bug, so if someone comes in asking for Bug, this is surely it, no?
I don't see a hammered tag on its neck, but I like the name, she says.
His name's Bug.
Fine.
Well, we reckon we solved the case of all the missing dogs, too, so we can rest easy at least on that.
Aye, she says. I do have to get to my shift, but I've already put the word in with Big Corey, and you are welcome here any time. Food, lodging, whatever you need. Keep it on the conservative side, though, right, Hiram? She says.
Maybe you
I'm not
exclude
making any
him.
promises.
Yeah. You're gonna be working for the rest of your life.
What's the worst that's gonna happen? Another refreshing boot on my rear?
I mean, you spend too much, they throw you in the pit.
Either that or, you eat lavishly and you just pay most of it.
What can
It's
I
like
say?
having
I have
discount.
I have a cultured palate. I can't help myself.
You went, what? You have,
A cultured palate.
what? You're growing, you're making cottage cheese on your bed?
I gotta have the best when I can afford it.
You knew the name for how to make cottage cheese, but not the other meaning.
No, I understand, like, a culture, like, you have culture of your people, but pallet is bed. You make pallet on the floor.
Yep. He likes a fancy bed.
Well, why is... We're talking food.
Figure speech.
Anyway. But, Isla, you think you could take care of Bug, though?
Aye, of course. Big Corey does have a soft spot for wandering indigents just like this little bug. Spotted and all are ye, she says. She reaches underneath its little neck.
Well, no.
Make sure you train this one properly.
What you talk about? Rufus is properly trained.
Not around me, ain't.
Well, I figure he could be good in the kitchens, keep pests out and things like that.
Aye. Rats in the cellar and all coming up from the sewer, she says, smiling.
But, glad to know, though, that you're back with Rufus.
Mm-hmm.
I truly thank you all. You were friends to the end. I do have to get to my shift, but if you need anything, of course, just make inquiry with the barkeep, and Corey's got your names. You all know Big Corey anyway, and now she knows you.
Yeah. I mean, everyone knows Leslie Longarm Killjoy. I'm just saying.
Yep.
Good morrow, then, she says as she excuses herself with Rufus in tow and Bug bouncing off her leg back and forth. As they're ought to do. It's a dog. It's a dog.
Well, I suppose, what do we think about Celsia? And her whole thing.
I mean, one needs work, right?
Nah, you can beg for money.
I mean,
Not if there's no money to be had from the people you walk by.
That is work.
they say you can't take your money with you when you die, so part of me thinks they've got to have something.
Spend it all now. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Well, you can't take it to your grave. Is that the saying? Can't.
Well, so we want to go talk to her and see what she's got of interest in?
Well, yeah.
What do you think?
I think that there's not much else to do right at this moment. I mean, I just wanted to get Rufus back home. And apparently there's something else going on. But to be honest, in the dark, how many things could be going on, you know?
A lot.
Right. So we could do that, or if we're really that interested, I guess we can go my home area over to Sawdust and check and see if the learners have anything. But, you know, they're just going to give us a bunch of riddles and none of it'll make sense until 5 years later when you go, oh yeah. So I don't know if that's worth it.
Yeah, I'll just wait outside.
Why don't we just take
They
a
make
day,
my head hurt.
take a day or two and relax? You know, enjoy the spoils of our work. Gotta have a weekend, right?
What's time at this point? Is there weekends?
Well, it would depend on how we feel about Sasnia Turnwell. Because if we want to help her, someone who may be wanting to hurt her, not take weekend.
Well, she did send us off to chase down a creature that she didn't know and then was shocked when we got back because she thought she sent us off to her death.
Well,
Just pointing out,
you know, they deal with dead men. They tell no tale. So
I mean, if
you
it's
know.
so all fired and
Plus-
important, she'll come look us up herself. She knows where we are.
We did tell her we're here.
Oh yes, of course. You are cornered. Person with sword or big scary monster come after you. Oh, hang on. Let me go. I'll be right back. Okay. Oh, come help me. Let's go back. I will get back in the corner. Okay, save me.
I mean, she seemed to think that was fine when there was a gigantic dog that tore someone to shreds in a mausoleum that could be going after
Okay,
her.
so then
Just saying.
to make clear, we think no, we only help her if she comes to us.
She's surrounded by priests. She's fine.
Yeah, they seem like the fighting sort.
I mean, I guess everyone around them is dead. They must be very good at fighting, huh?
It's true.
You know, nobody lives when they're through with them, huh?
It seems like you have an opinion here, Chuckles.
Okay, no. What I'm saying is, if we want to help, we should help. If we're not wanting to help, okay.
What I'm saying is, what's the point in getting all this money if we ain't gonna spend it?
What do you want to spend it on?
This, that, and everything.
Okay, I don't know where they sell that or what shop, but I assume it's probably not here.
Oh, it's definitely here.
My guess is probably like
They
the
just
Bed
said we
Bath
have-
and Beyond the Wall of Darkness.
Well, we know how to get through the palisade right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
I mean, look around. This is the prime time for the fun to be had. Fighting's going on, drinks flowing,
I'm
good
fine.
company.
But I'm just, they offered, like, we have a tab, so I don't know how you're gonna, I mean, I'm sure you could find a way, but, like, it's not like we were gonna spend here, that's all I'm saying.
So I know I give away my share, my portion.
Oh, speaking
But-
of which, and she's gonna
like look for a money changer somewhere?
Oh yeah, they can change your money out for 10%.
Stop for a second.
Should I go ahead and do the money changer, or do we want to keep this as...
I say, well, as far as I think, we keep as group funds, so when we want to spend, we get all our money.
Don't matter to me.
We
Tell you what,
we have four.
does anybody actually want to cash out their other amount, or are you okay with the amount that you've been given at this point?
This will be good for a few weeks, I reckon.
Then I will hold on to it,
Plenty
and
of
then
drink
if we
to be
figure
had.
out something, we'll have group funds. Alright?
So we've been together a long time. Just kind of as a general consensus, like we've been together for what?
30 days?
You're the
30
first
days,
generation of people born in Slaughter Pine. You all know each other,
Years?
yeah, years.
Right,
Okay.
right. So,
Years.
like, we as players know that we're going to be getting into adventures, but, like, how
That's-
much... I'm trying to talk to the rest of the players, like, how much do we, as characters, know that we're going to start getting into more and more misadventures? Like,
That's kind of what I was speaking to. At,
Yeah.
You know, like my character's, you know, border ambition is sophistication, so he wants to spend all his money.
oh, absolutely.
and
No,
enjoy
makes
it.
sense, yeah.
So like above board, you know, that makes it. That's what I'm going for. But you know, for purposes of moving the story along, I can be obviously overruled or overvoted or
Right.
convinced to move on. But that's what Hiram wants to do. He wants to spend his money
Well,
making merry.
So Sabella will finally go,
alright. Here's the thought. How about we spend a couple hours, enjoy a little bit of time, cool down here and entertain ourselves, and then we go see Selznia after some of the fights are done.
Well, if I had my say on what we did next, we throw out them fucking rat bastard river rats out of my uncle's emporium. That's what I want done.
That might take more than just the 6 of us.
Well, we got coin to hire as many thugs as we need to get them out of there.
But the
Hey.
thugs all belong to them.
No,
I have
we get
plan.
some other others.
You have a plan.
I have a plan. We go, we wait in back alley. One come out, we take one out.
And wasn't this what we discussed last time?
Exploit the AI.
Oh,
And then when one goes, hey, what was that? And comes around the corner, we knock him out and drag him
I
over.
mean, I
Put them
once
in the
all this
barrel.
merrymaking's done is what I'm saying is we go down to the dregs. I talk to a friend or two, and we rustle up a few people, and we run them out. That's it. I'll even pay.
But our good friend Dr. Drake did state that every hand that was working, on the docks before has a potential to be a river rat at this point. And we don't know how many that was. A lot.
Well, we won't hire from the docks.
Well, okay, that's
I-
great.
I reckon I can figure out who's who's river rat and who's not.
I think your plan is good for getting them out. What is your plan for keeping them out?
Well, that's not my uncle.
So you just
Tilligan can figure things out once we get them up off his ass.
I
Well,
have.
then-
I have oh,
We
yes.
hire some more security, whatnot. I don't know, but I'm just saying, right as it stands right now, he's in a bind.
I think we need to talk to him then.
We can't talk to him.
Well, he's not 24/7 there guarded by someone, most likely.
That's what I'm saying. He's stuck in there. They ain't letting him. They ain't getting up off him. We gotta free him up, and that's that.
Okay. Well, so I guess the options right now are Selznio and Aramore's Parlor. So which way do we go?
Well, in my opinion, working for the Lady of the Dead is less deadly than trying to beat up some thugs. So, I mean, this is coin in hand. So, I'm gonna go and say we vote. I vote that we work with Cessna.
So you're saying you don't give a damn about my family? I see.
I'm saying. I mean, kinda yeah.
All right. Oh, I can see it then.
I mean,
I care.
Thank you, Chuckles.
I want to help your uncle. I do believe Celsnia is in more immediate danger. Your uncle will be fine as long as he don't talk too much, or try and pick fight. But I do think we should help your uncle. Your uncle, nice man. He gave me food once.
All right, we talked to Celestia, whatever her name is. We sort it all out, and then we come back and do this, right? It just seems silly because he's right. The dregs is right there. It's just a quick walk, you know.
What dregs is across town, to be clear.
We go down there, sort it out, get it all done with, and then we go back up the other way. It'll all be done half a day.
Oh, right.
it's like Midwest close. It's only a 45-minute drive. It's not that far away.
Only have to spend half the day walking across the city. It's fine.
Okay, well, let's take an hour or two, drink, calm down, get some food, all of that, and then we'll go see Celsius, yeah? Don't get too shit-faced. I mean, a little shit-faced.
Who's gonna get shit-faced? Raise your hand.
Yeah!
You
even have to ask
are
him to raise his hand.
intoxicated.
We're finished for that.
Didn't even have to ask. I knew it.
Yeah.
Anybody else want to drink?
Yeah.
Chocolate will have a drink, but he doesn't want to intentionally get shit-faced.
I was just saying,
Yeah,
Sabella might have
so
an ale kind
you
of
suffer
thing.
12 physical peril.
Okay.
Yeah, Sabella's gonna have a drink, and then
Sure.
that's it.
Okay.
Oh my god.
So, you make some merry. Roll 1d10. If you would, Hiram.
What?
Yeah, you lose 1 shilling
Okay.
in your merrymaking, which is spent on, not very many drinks in excess of what you have already. But within the first hour, he's already intoxicated. So when you're intoxicated, remember, it's plus 3 your damage threshold.
Yeah!
But conversely, whenever you are intoxicated, I'm sorry, you didn't suffer. You suffered from peril. I'm so sorry. It's another 7 peril on top. It's 12 plus 7, so 17 peril.
Oh, okay. In that case, I'm incapacitated.
Oh. Not only is he incapacitated, he's unconscious.
Yeah.
He's knocked out fucking cold. So that's 1 corruption for drinking. It's another 6 for getting incapacitated. He doesn't hold his drinks very well. He drinks real quick, and he goes down real fast.
We can just put him outside, in the alley.
We have a room now.
That was the beginning and end of hiring.
Yeah, but I don't want him thrown up in the room.
He's going to be out for at least 6 hours. He was bickering, bantering about liquid courage! Hair of the dog! That burnt ya! And then he was out.
And maybe this is why I didn't want to go to a drinking gambling parlor and try to start fights. That might have been part of the thought process.
I try.
Hiram. Let's just put him
As soon
in
as
the...
he gets any money, it goes straight down.
Let's just put him in the room, turn him on his side, put a bucket under him.
We put them up in Lodge, Hiram Lodge.
Throws up, I'm gonna make Rufus come in there and fight him.
You gonna wait for him to wake up later on, or you're just gonna leave him for the day?
I'd leave him for the day. if it
Just
was
ask
my choice.
Isla occasionally to poke her head in the door and leave a water in there.
Just leave a bucket of water in there.
What are the 3 of you gonna do then during the day?
Go talk to Celsius.
Go talk to Zelzy.
Okay. Well, Hiram's out, so we can. Okay. We can
Gonna
turn.
sit for 6
yeah.
hours and do nothing. 7 really, because we didn't spend an hour doing nothing.
Shouldn't have given him that gold, should I?
No, you should have.
Nah.
It's his money.
It was right choice.
Before we do that, though, does anybody at the quarry sell oil, or is there a merchant? close
The
by
quarry
with
is beyond Slaughter Pine. To be clear,
the big quarry.
big quarries. No, you would need to go to a place called Be Prepared. That's in Market Hill.
Which is
Yeah.
also where the House of Augers is.
That's right. Yeah.
Then I am going to stop by and check with the owner of Big Quarry and see if they have a torch or oil or something so we can get to Market Hills.
Big Quarry will give you a torch to get there, sure. But Big Quarry just say prices are going up all across the city. This is as much as I can spare right now.
It's good enough. It'll get us to where we need to get to. Thank you.
So some time is going to pass until you make it over toward Market Hill, and it's pitch black out. It's dark. It's a little uncertain how things are going outside. You're not really sure what to expect in the city, but you can hear the barking and yapping of dogs everywhere you go. No matter where you're at in the city, you can hear the barking and yapping of dogs.
I do have Pudsey with me, by the way.
Yeah. So the city streets are fairly quiet, even as you come toward the gentle slope that leads toward Market Hill. As you're kind of going up the cobblestone road, suddenly the glowing globes of the street lamps kind of are on as you're kind of winding your way up this hill, and you can see there's haberdasheries, there's local barristers, and every business that you can imagine is kind of within Market Hill. You're kind of coming through. You can see beggars asking for spare change. There's lowborn laborers buying food at farmers' stalls. Prices anytime you come up towards somewhere and you see like prices on a wooden board, like they've all been marked through and marked up on everything. You can hear carriages rumbling with boxes of whatever on top. The city still seems to be fairly, quote, busy. Like, once again, it's not like daytime before the eternal night. Everybody's keeping really strange hours. Everyone's got these perpetual dark circles beneath their eyes. Everyone's got a source of light. And as you come toward the place that you simply know as Be Prepared with an exclamation point, you can see it has a picture of what looks like a smiling face of a barrel-bellied orc, and underneath and above it, kind of in carved letter, it says hunters, outdoor hobbyists, and mercenaries, and especially those oddball adventures, carved into the face of the place. That's known as Be Prepared. And as you come inside, the shop is, well, it's crowded with people. Clearly, you were not the only ones to come here to make trade, to buy things, as it were. And there's this person who keeps this place, who you've never met before, is just across the way, and she kind of waves this broad hand, welcoming you in. You hear a little bell can ding as you come inside the door. You stand in queue. Not surprisingly, oil, lamps.
Toilet paper.
That's right. Oil,
Bread,
lamps,
milk.
toilet paper, milk. No, oil, lamps, torches, blubber, whatever else, maybe fish oil, whatever is used to as pilots for lamps. You're surprised not to see them selling out rushlights, but candles by the hundreds in open boxes, and people are like filtering through everything, trying to find the best candles, and long burning candles. But there are all manner of people in here: young, old, men, women, adults, elderly, some in their teenage years. Everyone is here to acquire light and supplies from the keeper of Be Prepared. You all are waiting in line.
I start to look around to see if there's anything like else here that's like, I don't know, out of the ordinary, like for a shop, like if there's just some weird thing they're selling, like something to talk about, or
Yeah.
you know, it'd be like going into a bookstore and like seeing, you know, one of these heads that you have on the wall for sale.
Yeah. The first thing you kind of notice is like there is a surprising amount of like wilderness survival gear, like pythons and hammers and folding spades and tents and like literal like military provisions, used military attire, old big canvas military bags.
Oh, there's not a shortage?
It reminds you a little bit of like walking into like one of those military supply stores.
Yeah.
Like it's clear this is meant for like, to use a common analogy, this is for like doomsday preppers. Mm-hmm. And given that this is the eternal night, it kind of attracts a bunch of like hyper paranoid people. And the people in here are kind of talking big about like, well, the eternal night happened because we did something to turn ourselves away from the custodian. There's all kinds of like wild theories that are being shared, like conspiracy theories among the people inside Slaughter Pine. Not uncommon. It's mostly coming from out-of-work lumberjacks or out-of-work miners. Mm-hmm. But a lot of these people are clearly like, they're scared. And Be Prepared seems to be doing fairly well because all the prices on the boards have been marked up. But it is the place for the city's most terrified hoarders to find survival gear that's been picked, plucked, or drawn by bone pickers from dead military encampments. Upon the potential pending collapse of Slaughter Pine, which, to be fair, is not something that would be out of the question, given that you're now 30 days into the eternal night and the city is in chaos. Granted, just the night before, there was like literally a mass murder in the middle of the street.
You know, it's interesting. I see Plague Doctor mask on wall for sale. I see no other raiment. It's like they don't have the full get-up that you see them wearing. You know, the hat and the gloves. Just the mask.
Yep. Well, I don't think they're really worried about the health and safety concerns or presenting themselves as a plague doctor if someone in this place was to buy said mask. Just a thought, you know.
It's interesting. I didn't even know you go to the store to buy them in the first place.
Yeah, you can't, it's not like you go to the supply store and you buy like plague gear. Like it's typically made by people who attend to plagues.
Yeah.
Like there's all manner of like strange oddities hanging from the wall, and it's always like there's always like an excess of that one thing. Right? Like why are there so many military peacoats in this place, and why are they all sized large? Like,
Right. Yeah.
like it does remind you of like in our world like a military oversupply store.
Yeah. I remember I went into one once and there were gas masks.
Yeah.
But nothing else that would protect you from, you know, what you
Yeah.
would need a gas mask for.
Welcome, good adventurers! You see this incredibly tall woman who must be related to Big Corey, judging by the size and bulk of her frame, as she is broad-shouldered, well-muscled, and seems to be well outfitted, as she has these kind of like all these red freckles across her face. I don't think we have met before. I am Fiona Arlux. Are you new to Market Hill? She says.
No. Just not shopped here. I had occasion.
Ah, well, let it be my great pleasure to welcome you to Be Prepared. It's a place where you can find most everything you need to live in these dark eternal times, she says.
Does she have a scar? Because when I hear "be prepared," I always think
Prepared.
Scar. Yeah, I know. That's what I keep thinking too. Like,
are there teeth and ambitions?
She does not.
Prepared?
No.
Be prepared.
Who wants to take her NPC card?
Mufasa is dead.
I'll take it.
Long live the king.
No king, no king. La, 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 la.
Her name is Fiona Arlux.
You idiots. There was a
She will show you
Yeah.
around her shop. She's, and I found this. I got this in the fine expanse when the military dropped it up the back of a wagon. And she kind of talks about like where a lot of her things came from. And I must say, I've, many trappers come through here and they buy the animal traps from me, because in the eternal night, all the animals have taken away or to kill each other. Many hunters and survivalists come here. Many people who are preparing for times just like this, the eternal night. Is a place where business is been picking up, and my supplies are running very low, she says. But anything you can ask for, I could probably procure for you.
Well, like probably most of your customers, we're looking for oil and lighting.
Wilderness needs, of course.
Wilderness.
Illumination. Oui, okay. She says. So, why am I not finding oil anywhere? I should know this. Okay. So, an oil pot is typically a shilling. Here it's 2 shilling. Oil pots, 2 shilling. Lanterns, 4 crowns. Lamps, 4 shilling. Firewood for a night, 2 shilling. Candles, 2 shilling. 8 bucks and matches, 2 brass. You need torches, 6 brass.
I would like 3 pots of oil.
So it'll be yeah, 6. So if you look on page 233, the revised core rule book, every price on here is double.
Is there a bulk discount?
No, she says. My supplies are very limited, as you can see. Look at all these customers. You try to bargain with her?
Yeah.
Okay.
He doesn't know. He doesn't know he's not good at it.
So you're not from Market Hill.
No.
That's okay. It's going to be challenging.
Challenging.
Bargain.
I do not have bargain, or else I would assist.
27. 43 won't do it.
My supplies are very running low. You see, I have plenty of customers. I cannot offer a bulk discount. It's the eternal night after all. People got to be prepared. If there is no daytime ever again, what do you think will happen? We run out of all the oil, all the candles. I am sorry. I am so sorry. She smiles and she says she apologizes.
It never hurt to ask, right?
Great. Is there anything else that you guys needed? Torches?
Oh, I need that as I point to the plague doctor mask. I need it.
Oh.
Gotta have it.
Lester's gonna peruse the wares. Being as this is a military, fell off the wagon store, would they have any grenades?
It's a good question. Roll 1d6 chaos die and name 2 numbers on it.
Let's go with 3 and 6 because they are
Okay.
the numbers.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 5.
You mean 3 plus 2 additional?
Yeah, 3 plus 2 additional.
Unfortunately, nothing today
darn.
as you sift through the wares.
Would they have any actual protective gear like gambeson?
Yeah, you could find hide and leather here.
That would be something I would be interested in, and I look to see if there's a price.
She says, "I don't know if it'll fit you." She says, "But I can make it fit if you like. If you can give me a few days." Look, it's not quite your size, but I can fit it for you. I would sell this for, say... She kind of looks through her book of prices, her almanac, her yearly almanac. A leather armor, I'm looking through my book.
226.
I can sell this to you for 20 crowns.
I pull out like just the tiny bit of money I have and I count it, and I'm doing math, and it's obvious I don't even have enough for 1 crown.
Yeah. You do not have enough. She folds her hand closed. Perhaps when you are in the better situation, we can see to this leather. And it's not going anywhere anytime soon. And if that, I've got 2 other sets in the back.
It's very, very kind of you. We need to make more money. If we're going to be doing these sorts of jobs.
I agree.
Times are tough. The eternal night has come. People are looking for opportunity. People have lost their jobs in the city. No traffic down the Brightwater. No travel coming in. Nothing coming out. The lumber mills are quiet. There's no finished goods leaving down the Brightwater. What we have is what we have in Slaughter Pine, you see? Without any boats coming in, my supply will eventually dwindle, she says.
Well, maybe we'll come back if we earn a lot more.
Well, out of curiosity, do you have a shield?
A shield? Oh, of course, I have this beautiful one right here. She walks over and kind of pulls it off the wall. A wooden shield, 1 crown for this. It's a bit beat up, but it will do the job. No?
You know what? I think so.
And I will hand over a crown.
Okay. Wooden shield, it's on page 228.
Yep. Actually, still saved 12.
You know, you got any bandages?
Of course. Medical supplies are at a premium, though, she says.
Okay. How about like bed sheets or anything like that?
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
I've got outside. We've got wilderness survival wilderness survival blankets.
Essentially, what I'm going to eventually do is make those flaming, where you can like use pots of oil and cloth to make flaming stuff.
Yeah.
So that way I can have my flaming pigskins eventually.
That's right.
So yeah, I'm going to get some oil and some cloth.
Yeah.
For that.
So you could get a good. You could get call it 2 shilling.
Okay.
I thought I had a buckler. I actually already have a wooden shield, so never mind.
So 2 shilling for
the sheet.
okay. 2 shilling for the sheet.
So call it 10 uses.
Okay.
Or 9 uses, of course.
Yeah.
Round it down. Get it at 3, 6, 9, 12, 15.
And then I'll
19,
buy. Well, it's at this price. Well, let's see, because I have a gold coin, so I might as well just buy the entire gold coin's worth.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll do 5 pots of oil
Yes, they're 2 shilling each.
and 5 sheets.
Sure.
Just walking out with like a bundle of.
Yeah.
And I'll give her the gold coin.
You have something to keep all this in?
You can keep it back at the apartment.
I have my rucksack right now.
Okay. You can stuff it in the rucksack. How many pots of oil?
I want 5.
Okay. Yeah, you're fine. I mean, they're like that.
Yeah.
They're the size of a can of Coke.
Right. And I'm just wrapping them in the.
Yeah. You're clattering inside your rucksack. Like
Yeah.
a rucksack is like, it's not a fanny pack, but it's not much bigger.
Yeah.
So it's like a hip pack.
It's like way over full.
It's a medieval hip pack. No, just kidding. It's bigger than a medieval hip pack. It's like a sling bag.
Yeah. Just using the cloth to like
I
bundle
thought it
it
was the
all
size
up.
of like a gym bag.
Yeah, more or less. Well, it's slung over the shoulder, so it's like it literally is like a man purse, if you will, but
Yeah.
slimmer and slender, like a postman's bag, if you will.
Yeah.
Anything else you wish to get while you're here?
No.
I think I'm good.
I would if I were there.
Would you have told us something you need?
Well, if there's anything else I can do for you,
Booze, that's what he needs.
you come back to be prepared. Hunters outdoors, obvious mercenaries and specialists, oddball adventurers, all welcome here. That's for me, Fiona Arlux. Good eternal night to you, she says as you leave their store. Ding, 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 ding. Little bell by the door.
Wait, if we...
What?
Anything you'll need? Like, you keep saying you don't have many things because of the eternal night. Maybe if we come across something, you need something, huh?
Perhaps in time.
Okay.
Maybe
I
that
see-
quest will unlock.
yeah,
Maybe
yeah,
in time.
I
She
see
said.
what you say.
Well, should you need anything, we are at the big quarry if you find yourself in need.
Bikari's pit? Oof, I'd never be seen there. Oh,
Oh, but I'm sure you can send a message there if you needed to.
if I can stay away from Bardstown, I shall do anything. Anytime that I do my drinking here in Market Hill, it's typically near the Duquesne's bureaucracy. She says,
Okay.
"Bardstown, not my kind of place." She says.
I know you say you'll never be seen there, but with as tall as you are, I'm sure no one will have any problem seeing you.
Too close to the trees, she says,
Ah,
shuddering for a moment, and then she says, "No less. Au revoir!
I understand.
Have a good eternal night!"
Goodbye.
Hopefully yourself as well.
Back into the night you go.
She was nice.
Oh god.
She was.
So it doesn't take you long to get to the House of Augurs. This quiet gray stone building where you can hear the sounds of bells kind of deeper within the chambers of this gray labyrinthine building on top of a hill that overlooks this pitch black graveyard. But the graveyard actually now is lit by candles. Like you can see that it appears that the augurs of the custodian have been illuminating candles along every single gravestone and among the mausoleums out there, and you can see them like dotting all across the landscape, out in the graveyards. Good morrow, she says. I am so glad you returned.
Well, you said you wanted to speak to us about things going on.
Well, upon your recommendation, I inquired with the Night Watch to see to the wall. Indeed, it appears that that a dear old friend from the Sartapine Noble Council, Harker Construction, will be seeing to the repairs.
It's good news.
Yeah, you wouldn't want any wild animals getting in.
She says. Indeed. Councilmember Orion Harker is a friend. He, I made inquiry, and he will see to its repairs with haste.
Right. Well, though I'm glad to hear the fence is getting mended, was there anything else? We're not really a construction crew, as you might guess.
Here's his NPC card.
Speak for yourself. I take work where I find it.
Alright, fine. So if you'd like to hire Lester to work on your fence, it appears that he actually has the ability. Myself, I'm not much of a carpenter.
She looks a bit grim, but she says, "Nay, I may inquire with the appropriate folk, and I know that Councilmember Orion shall see to the repairs of the palisade. After all, it does adjoin the graveyard and the House of Augurs." I thought more about our conversation the day hence. about the mortician. She wouldn't even say his name once again. I thought more about the mortician and what he may have been up to, she says. I went to his personal chambers. Nothing out of the ordinary. No record keeping of any kind, save for that of which his attendance to the dead. Certainly, since the eternal night, unfortunately more souls must be ferried to the custodian's realm. And the mortician, there's nothing out of sorts in his personal chambers. He lived a very austere life, as most clerics do, of the custodian.
Was there anywhere else he could have been keeping things?
Well, it was very clear that he had been spending time in the Berrybrick Mausoleum for whatever, for his nefarious experiments, she says. Barely, finding it difficult to even say. But aught save for several empty bottles of spirits, nary a breadcrumb that would indicate any sort of conspiracy, save for this letter you had found in the mortician's purse.
Well, so we are happy to see you have not come across any trouble, but don't really know where to go from here.
Her gaze kind of lowers, and well, I don't know what will turn up. To be quite frank, with the passing of the mortician and the fate that the custodian had seen to bestow upon him for his heresies, I have prayed to the custodian, hope that this is the worst of it all. Nothing out of the ordinary has occurred in the last day, at least related to the mortician and the bar guests.
Like looking like he's suddenly remembering something. Have you slept yet?
We have found in these dark times that there is little rest for an augur. Our job is never ending until we too pass into the eternal unknown. You can see the dark circles beneath her eyes, and she's wiping the sweat from her brow once again, pale as a cadaver.
Well, you should sleep. How else is custodian going to speak with you?
The custodian spoke with the mortician at one point. I remember when She stops herself.
The mortician.
Yes. Before he had fell from grace. I still commune with the custodian from time to time in the reflectory, but since the coming of the eternal night, there is a distance between us. The custodian, you see, works in dreams, speaking through them, left for us to interpret. Never clear as speaking as you and I would. Even I, as chief augur of the custodian, do not have such privileges. It is reserved strictly for the chosen, for those who are the closest to the custodian and of the faith. But she has sent me dreams, auguries of a sort, I suppose you could say, in the past, but since the coming of the eternal night, nothing. She admits. No less. I am glad that you returned, and for the business that we spoke about, please, if you would come with me, I want to show you something. You walk through the dark cathedral of the House of Augurs until you come outside, and as you come outside in the slaughter pine, like it's clearly beginning to, there's kind of a soft rain kind of falling over the city. That's really loud, by the way.
That's not very soft.
There's kind of a soft rain beginning to fall, and you can see the candles amid the graveyard kind of sputtering. We've seen to eliminate the graveyard for many reasons. If not only for what had befallen the mortician and your findings of his nefarious investigation, his nefarious means, but also because we have noticed that those who have been freshly buried are missing. You can hear the crackling of thunder overhead.
So it's not like a robber where they just open and take the things, they take the people.
Well, she goes on. Those who cannot afford the privilege to be buried upon their own plot would be seen to the mortician, and then they would be laid to rest in there is a mass grave near the cemetery. Is where we put the people of the dregs, mostly, and some of Bargetown that have come to pass, laying to rest in with all the rites and passage into the Well of Souls, of course. With the mortician now gone, that new position has yet to be determined. But nonetheless, we have noticed that some of the bodies, the grave diggers, go there to turn the earth after they have underwent the proper rituals that have gone missing.
Like, the hole is still there, or they go to look and the hole is dug up and empty?
Well, that whenever one is laid to rest, it is tradition for them to be placed face up toward the vault of night, so that among the stars in the mirror they're able to foretell for their spirit to pass from their breath and to emerge, rising into the sky. Since the passage of the eternal night, those things have not happened. The bodies have turned sour much faster than we would expect. The grave worms take to the corpses quickly since the coming of the eternal night. But more importantly, when the grave diggers have come to return to turn the soil to bury them 24 hours hence, some corpses have went missing.
Huh. Yeah, I'm kind of with you, Chuckles. What I can get why someone would, rob a grave of valuables, but why take people?
Why take dog?
Well, they took dog because someone's going to pay them 10 crowns for it.
Well,
Okay, and then they take that person then take dog and make into bar guest.
human Farkas.
I don't like the sound of that.
Well, but then again, there was something in the notes that said something about the dogs had to be alive.
It's true. It's true.
I don't know. Maybe human Vargas don't have.
These unfortunates have already prepared to pass into the Well of Souls.
Okay, but they dig into the dirt and there's no body there, or they find out that the hole's already dug out and the body's been taken.
Perhaps it's best that I show you, she says.
Yeah.
Sure.
It may be best. Seeing is believing, right?
I mean, I don't doubt somebody's taking bodies. I just don't know why.
You come outside, and
I guess feet.
it's raining out. It's a heavy rain, and she extends a black parasol that raises over her like Morticia Adams as she moves amid the graveyard with you, holding a single lantern, looking like some custodian herself of the dead. Her skin looking even more pale in the darkness as the rain is kind of coming down sight like. And because it's raining, and because there's some light fog, it's actually somewhat. It's almost like seeing like a clear night. Because remember, mist captures light because it's moisture. So the graveyard is not pitch black. You can actually see around the gravestones and the mausoleums and the standing statues and the small kind of like rounded hills that wind their way up between the cobblestone where the dead are buried. Most of the candles have been extinguished at this point because of the rain, but underneath the parasol you are getting soakingly wet unless you have a cloak. With her guttering lantern in the rain, she takes you toward the mass grave, and the first thing, like as you begin to approach this black ditch in the ground, is like the smell is just overwhelming. All of you need to make a challenging toughness test to not lose your lunch.
95. I fail.
Challenging.
Barf.
I'm going to use a fortune point.
Oh, fine. I'll take that misfortune.
Oh, failed by one.
Barf, barf. Those who fail suffer 7 physical peril. Your stomach begins to turn. You don't feel so good. It's not often that I get to speak of burial rites, save for the bereaved, but if you look down here, she kind of points toward this long divot in the ground, you can see that after a body has been prepared with ointments and the proper tinctures and undergone the rituals, the grave diggers will take it down. She points toward where there's a ladder, and you can see they rest them upon a wooden pallet. The wooden pallet keeps them above the earth so that the custodians' earthworms do not take the body into the earth. It is still too soon. Traditionally, when someone is buried in a mass grave as such, or any grave, the body is left to the elements so that the spirit can escape into the ether and rise into the vault of night. The custodian delivers to the dead a message. You see, the spirit does not leave the mortal coil until the passage of 24 hours. It still remains inside, although the body does not show any sense of the spirit still being alive. This is an important part of the passage, as we call it. When this happens, the grave diggers will return the next day, and they will turn the soil over the dead, so that the corpse may be brought back into the custodian, back to the earth, and it can be turned once again into earth itself. For we all decay. As we are born from seeds, we wilt away and turn back into the ash and the dust of the earth. It is part of the rite of the passage of the dead. Well, she points down toward the body. Since the coming the eternal night, the corpses have been taken with grave worms far too soon, and every once so often, as she points down toward a missing pallet, one of the corpses is simply missing. It's gone, she says. This one just tonight. The word tonight almost seems meaningless to you at this point, given you can't make out day or night.
So is that one cultured or is that one not?
It appears to not be, if the smell is any indicator.
Alright, it's not a cultured palate.
No.
The gravediggers are coming soon to attend to these unfortunate souls, but we will be placing more bodies upon the pallets on the morrow.
So you're trying to figure out what's taking the bodies then at this point? Has there been...
It seems strange that body thieves would take the dead. It does not make any sense. Now, if they were simply grave robbers, then they would leave the bodies behind, but who would have need of a cadaver?
Someone who was extremely hungry.
By gods, she says.
Yeah, that's...
We are not there yet in Slaughterpine, she says. She wipes sweat from her brow despite the fact that it's raining.
Well...
She rests the lantern on the edge of the burial of the ditch.
Alright, so if you don't think that it's somebody coming and stealing the bodies, then what do you think it is?
I'm not saying that, it just seems curious. I'm not sure what to make of it. If I had the answers, then I would have solved the riddle myself.
You're referring to the H word.
The what?
The word you cannot say.
The what?
When you say it, it gives it power. Is what someone told me. It was a wife that was old.
I don't know what you're getting at.
Okay, it starts with H and ends with Ermasti.
Quiet yourself. You're in a holy place,
I didn't
she
say the
says.
whole thing!
I know what he's getting at, but my character would be like, huh?
And that's actually what Sabella's doing.
Herma. What?
Please, child, she says. You're in a holy place. Do not whisper such words here.
Well, I didn't say
This
the
is
whole
consecrated
thing.
ground. Custodian forbid that the cadavers walk upon their own accord, but I do not think that is the case, for the grave diggers take the ladder out of the ditch every night. They'd have to crawl up 10 feet of solid vertical earth.
Well, the
She
people who
says.
take them have to crawl down 10 feet of solid vertical earth.
That or they bring their own ladder.
The
No.
only reason I would imply such a thing is because we did pet the flaming dog the other...
Her nasty?
Nice.
No, that's not the word.
You
Her
gain
nasty.
1 corruption. You gain 1 corruption.
Okay.
That's just her nasty.
Sabella's still confused.
Alright, well, anyways, so have you seen any cart tracks or anything? How long's this been happening?
She says, it seems to happen when the rain comes.
The rain is stealing bodies.
I mean, it's not like the holes are filling up and they're floating away, right? I mean, I'm looking at it right here.
Has the rain been just as unpredictable as before? Like, or has
Oh,
it
yeah.
been somewhat unpredictable?
Very unpredictable.
Okay.
I mean, it is autumn. It does tend to rain a lot in autumn.
So the weather seems to be the same. It's just the light. Okay.
Yeah.
Have you tried blessing the rain in Ravania?
We're an Aguador, child.
Okay, then have you tried blessing the rain in Aguador?
We do not cast consecrations upon the rain.
Well then,
You're speaking of those of the steward,
okay.
or perhaps even the martyr. We'll
Alright.
find no such gods in Slaughterpine.
Well, okay.
Alright, well, so it rains and then randomly corpses go missing or they get eaten faster. Right?
By the earth.
She nods.
Right. But you haven't seen tracks or anything strange?
She shakes her head. It is quite curious. If there is someone stealing corpses, they are waiting until the rains come. Unless,
Cover the
of course,
tracks.
they are crawling their way from the ditches, maybe you suggest, which is just as disconcerting as to hear that body thieves may be taking the dead.
Well,
I shudder to think.
More
I shudder to think.
I would not have suggested it if not for Burning Dog. So, okay, it is raining now. Have they already come and taken it, or are
She
they
points
yet?
toward the pallet. The cadaver is already gone, as I noted.
Oh yeah.
I assume your gravekeeper guys that do the whole bury and all that stuff, they still work in the rain, right?
The mortician would see to blessing the bodies.
No, the ones that do the burying, that throw the dirt on them.
The body taken. The bodyman.
Yes.
Typically, it would be during daylight hours, but she
Looks up.
Yeah, it's night. It is nighttime now. They will turn the earth in the morning.
But I'm saying they still do it whether it's raining or not, right?
Certainly.
And they
Work
haven't,
does not stop because the rain comes.
they haven't seen anything other than just bodies missing.
As I said, madam, the grave diggers work during the daytime. She stumbles with that word a bit as she says it.
I think they are coming at the times when grave diggers are not here. I think that's what she said.
I got an idea. All right. So, there's a lot of injuries in blitzball, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I know a guy who swears that he always knows it's gonna rain because his injuries always ache right before it rains. So I think if we go find him, wait for the next rainstorm, and he says, hey Lester, my arm's bothering me. It's gonna rain soon. Then we can come back and keep an eye out.
If you can solve this problem for me, I shall pay you 5 crowns.
Alright.
I wish I had more information to share, she says, trailing off. But this entire ordeal is curious, and it feels entirely coincidental that this deal with the mortician and these missing corpses, although I will say that the corpses have gone missing long before any suspicions of the mortician had happened.
Only since the whole night thing, though, right?
She nods, yes. Since the eternal night. Yes. Come to think of it, I think the first was taken after that first big rain, the night after the evening when the evening after the eternal night fell. Remember the big rain that happened after the darkness came?
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Twas then that the first was missing. Truth be told, while we certainly keep our hours and do see to the dead, it would seem to pale in comparison to what the great dark apocalypse had fallen upon Slaughterpine and all of Lockwood. But now it is very disconcerting.
We are getting used to new normal.
Okay. Well, I guess if you get any more information, since the body's already been taken at this point,
I don't know what else information I could possibly offer. That's why I would pay you 5 crowns to investigate.
I'm saying if any more comes up, you can let us know at the big quarry. But at this point, I don't know that there's much we can do if the body's already been taken, so we may have to wait till the next rainfall.
She says.
So,
Well, very well then.
at least that makes sense to me. And we should probably go check and make sure that Hiram hasn't suffocated himself while he's been drunk in bed.
I'll take a look around and see if I find any footprints or anything like that, but I ain't really
In this
a
rain?
tracker. Well, then there'd be deeper puddles where the foots was.
Be my guest.
I mean,
You look around, and there's nothing you can find in the rain, but after it rained, after the rain after it stops, absolutely.
alright.
If you staked this out, you may find something,
Yeah.
but you don't know when the rains are going to lift.
Yeah. I'll collaborate with my buddy Reggie. Yeah.
He does drink at Big Corey's.
Yeah. Of course he does.
Big Corey, my apologies, not Corey, Big Corey's. Big Corey's pit.
But we should probably go check on Hiram. It's been a couple hours. Maybe he slept it off at this point.
Yeah.
And there's not much we can do right now, I don't think.
Please, if you find anything out, do find me. You know where to find me.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
We do.
Custodian keep you safe.
You too.
The return back to Big Corey's is, well, it's wet and uncomfortable. And by the time you come into Big Corey's, the pub is, it's fairly quiet. There's people here, but you can see downstairs. No, your friend is not yet awake. You go upstairs and you begin to rouse from your sleep, Hiram. It's been 6 hours. You're still incapacitated. You have the worst splitting headache. They come inside the private room.
Y'all got me a drink from downstairs?
You were looking for hair of dog.
I mean, there's a bucket of water right there. You should probably start on it. You know, hydrate.
Looks none too clean to me. That's what I always say. A drink will be clean.
Yeah, but water will make you well.
That's why they call it well water?
Exactly.
Oh. I did not know.
And now you do.
I thought it was from well.
Well,
Oh, I reckon I should drink a little bit. Water.
And take a big barrel and glug, 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 glug. Oh, you're so parched. You can't get enough. Your lips are dry. You're hungover. You feel like absolute crap.
Well, maybe we go get some grease downstairs, and that might help.
You go downstairs to a fairly quiet parlor and begin to share some food and bread and begin to talk.
I don't know what the hell to do about bodies going missing.
Well, there's not really much we can do. I like your idea. You have a person who can predict weather.
well, I mean, yeah, hopefully. It's the best thing we got. We can't even see the sky.
He's quite talented.
I mean, I don't know if it's talent, but, you know, he always says, you know, my arm, it tweaks a little bit, you know. Yeah, you can feel the weather changing, so.
Oh, Reggie? Yeah. he never steered me wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's what's going on. Too long. Let me sum up.
Oh, that's what it is. Okay.
Don't waste time.
One of those, yeah, I like those.
You know,
Press A, press A, press A, press A. Skip scene.
you know, now that I'm thinking about it, last night I had a dream, or maybe it was a dream of a dream. Anyways, some talking spider was telling me all these riddles and blah blah blah. I can't recall it all, but maybe if one of you could write it down as I think it up in my head, I could get it all down to you. I don't know everything you said about the what's her name couldn't get a dream in edgewise. Maybe this means something.
Spider?
Okay,
Ew.
so you have dreams
I heard this one
and
before.
dreams.
So the itsy bitsy spider crawls up the water spout, and then down comes the rain and washes the spider out.
Hey. Don't be joking around with this. The priestess of the custodian can't even dream, and I can.
I thought it was.
You didn't have a dream
It was
last
the
night.
graveyard.
You didn't
I
have
had
a dream last night,
I
did
was
you?
champion of the blood ball, and you know, of course, that was true. It was just more me reliving the memory. But I mean, I have dreams too.
That ain't any importance. This is a
I
right.
mean,
It was
the trophy's
this was
right there as I point to the trophy that's on the.
As Hiram kind of says this, it kind of like is this like all of you had this like intense moment of deja vu. Like you don't remember the last time you had a dream since the coming of the eternal night.
It wasn't the night. It wasn't the night I got drunk. It wasn't this last one.
You mean like
It was the one
6
before.
hours ago?
It was the one before. It's coming upon me now. That's when I had the dream, and now that I'm thinking about it, hadn't dreamed since the night came. Doesn't matter how much you drink. To listen this time. And that's when the talking spider told me all the things about what's to come and whatnot.
Okay, well, what did the spider say?
I can't rightly remember it all. It's all fuzzy now, since, you know how it is hard to remember a dream once it's been a day or two. It's kind of like that, but something about going this way and that all around the city, and then if we do everything it says, then the eternal night will be gone.
Oh, so if we do everything that says that you don't remember, we could get rid of the night. Guys, we solved it. I think we have our answer. Now just tell me what it said.
I once heard a song about the person who had a dream where otherworldly being come and talk to them and they forgot their pen.
It wasn't otherworldly. It was down there in the fairy ring like we was before.
Difficult. Yeah. It's so important and you can't remember it. At one time I had that too. I had a lot of devil weed.
Mm-hmm.
And I swore I figured out the world. And I forgot my pen again. Typical.
It was like that time I got a bunch of money and then I buried it somewhere and then I couldn't remember where I put it. That's why I'll always just spin it up first, That way you don't miss out on it. Anyway, was you saying something?
Well, I wonder if you could have that dream again if you went to sleep but weren't completely trashed.
Hey, wait. When you have a dream, you weren't. It was before you got drunk.
Yeah.
Why didn't you say something earlier?
Oh, it just didn't set right with me. These sorts of dreams don't happen when I'm sober. So I figured something was wrong with my head, so I tried to screw it on right with the liquor.
So you have a dream in stable.
Yeah.
We call stable Hiram Lodge. Not where you were earlier. Maybe you should go back to Hiram Lodge.
But I just woke up.
When you have, you're not going to stay awake forever, no?
Yeah, we got stuff to attend to, Sort out Tilligan.
But you go back to stable. Maybe spider bites you again while you're sleeping and you dream about spider and then...
I reckon it's worth a shot. Yeah.
And maybe we put a piece of paper next to him and a pen.
Yeah. Well, what good would that do? I can't write rightly.
Maybe you could draw a picture.
Well, I can draw a few pictures of this big spider.
I could sleep next to you. You could tell me. And
I'd be right cozy up there in the hay.
Yeah. And let's see, we pass along a lot of things through story.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe I would help you remember.
Okay.
Or
maybe you have the dream too.
Maybe I will. I would love to meet your spider. Or you could stay in...
Me.
Yeah, you
Everyone, increase the chances. We all stay in the stable tomorrow.
What if you have to be alone for your spider friend to decide it wants to talk to you?
I'm just saying, 6 chances is better than 1.
Yeah, and then when we all wake up...
He must be seeing 2 of each of you. He's still cross-eyed, his breath is nasty.
The other 2, where are they?
He smells a garage.
Eaglesdove and the other one? Walter?
Wilson.
Oh boy.
That makes 6, right?
You sure you don't need to sleep now?
Oh, I
Curiosity.
don't know. Kind of hungry.
Worth a shot. Alright, well, I guess we could have sleep in the stable. Fine.
Okay, who can write?
So without getting into all the nitty-gritty
Okay.
details, your day or night will pass in... There's no dream. There's no waking up in the middle of the night and writing anything down. It's just... god-awfully uncomfortable to sleep in the stable as you all recover too imperiled.
Except for me.
Except for you, that's right.
Are we sleeping in the Imperial? I don't sleep out there.
I did.
Sabella does it for the good of the group, begrudgingly.
And the next day comes, and sure enough, just as it was the night before, so too comes the rain.
So is it still rain, or did it stop and then start again?
It's been raining nonstop.
What time?
As you come back down into Big Corey's pub and you come into the cloakroom, you look toward the grandfather clock, and it appears to be almost 5 o'clock in the evening.
Could we take a quick break?
Yeah. Let's pause for just a few moments and we'll resume. For our listeners and viewers, we'll be back in like 2 seconds. You're back? We're back. Okay. So, yeah, you sleep. It doesn't do any good.
Well, no, we said we.
Well,
During
for
the
the
break.
dreams.
Or for
Yeah,
the dreams,
there are no dreams to be had. Maybe it was a fluke. I mean, you weren't sleeping when it happened. I mean, you were literally standing in the middle of Big Corey's pub. You snapped out of it when you were staring at your bowl of gruel for breakfast. You just remember laying down and going to sleep and then waking up in the middle when your friends had already had broken their fast.
Oh, now I remember.
Wait, what?
Say again. It wasn't in bed. It was in a fit of I don't know, like a vision. In the middle of Big Chorus the other. You remember you're asking me a question about your new mask,
Let's go
and
to
I was spacing out, and you said, and I was like, what? I didn't know, and that was when it was just before that.
You're literally standing in Big Corey's right now.
Okay, where were you standing?
You're sitting at the same
Right.
table you're at.
Our normal
Right
table
where-
and
yeah.
our normal seats.
Yes.
Right
Having our
where-
normal breakfast.
Right
Yes.
where Lester's sitting right now.
What are you talking about? This is my seat.
Switch space.
He was over there. He's always over there.
Go stand over there.
You know he's always sitting there.
You remember I was sitting there.
You're not sitting there. I sit here.
You're just saying that because it's the end of the table and you always want it there, and we always
I
fight
always
over
get it
it.
here.
We're always fighting over it, but I was sitting there the other day.
We don't fight about it. I win. I get it. Because I pay my tab. I get the seat.
He always wins too.
That's the way I remembered it, though. Maybe,
I mean, you
maybe
can try the seat out.
Maybe you got up to make water.
I mean, he is the champion of Surga Fields. As you look toward the giant trophy on the mantle, the champion Surga Fields long-arm killjoy.
Maybe you were taking your morning piss or something, and I stole your seat. I don't know. I was sitting there.
Well, fine. I'll go pee. You sit here, and then you come back. Maybe you'll have some results, or I'll throw you out of the chair.
No matter what you all do, there's no.
Yeah, right. You know.
You start to wonder whether Hiram's just out of his gourd or not.
No, he's just out of his mind. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're giving him shit.
All right, so today's the day. We
talk-
go in there, we throw out the river rats and reinstate Tilligan in his emporium, and he'll be eternally grateful, and we can go there to gamble anytime you want. Isn't that right, Wilson?
And
I know
we'll
just a
never
couple
have to
times.
worry about river rats again.
Right?
Never.
Yeah. Our throats will be slit in the river.
All of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, this seems like a solid plan.
Have you considered one at a time?
Oh, like if we lead one out to the alleyway and we slit their throats fast enough.
This game is busted. Our playtesting has turned up busted AI.
Alright,
It's a glitch in the
well,
Matrix. It's the same guy that keeps coming out.
Yeah.
Why does he look like the last one that
You just
came
gotta
out?
restart the game sometimes. You have some weird geometry. Someone's bouncing off a fucking rock.
Oh yeah.
Like it's like the Fallout game, or whatever the name of the Obsidian game memory engine, whatever it's called. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like people bouncing off rocks and shit. Yeah, no.
Old busted ass, decades old system game engine.
It's been roughly 4 days since you embarked upon this undertaking for Isla to find her dog, and then found yourselves in Aramore's parlor when you learned of the river rats and pulled off this pretty fantastical heist that you're surprised you managed to get away with. And the river rats certainly haven't come chasing after you yet, but then again, you've kind of spent a lot of your time in Market Hill.
I mean, if you want to go lead your peasant revolt, I ain't gonna stop you.
Beggars revolt.
Sure.
We ain't tied to the land.
Okay. Well then, I mean, you gotta go there and then come back here, right?
Well, doesn't he have to recruit his army first?
Well, that's what I'm saying. He's gotta go to the dregs, because we ain't in the dregs. Gotta recruit his army there. Then he's gotta come back here, because your cousin's place is here, right? So you just come get me when you're done. Or when you're about to do it.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Oh,
See you later.
Any of you guys going with him?
Sabella's like completely confused at this point, like as to what exactly is supposed to be happening.
Okay, I understand, like, planning's maybe not the best thing on the plate here, but you're gonna go to the dregs. You're gonna pay a bunch of people there to join your cause to go take back Aramore's parlor.
Yep, that's the plan.
Okay.
She say okay. There's something telling me it's not okay.
Alright, so, how many people are you gonna get?
As many as I can. Killigan will pay me back. He's good for it.
Easy. So he still has money even though the river rats have completely taken over his operation?
I mean, I didn't say that. I'm just saying he can win his money back with the gambling and whatnot. And he'll get it back to me eventually. We're family.
Okay. But you want to go to the dregs and just, what are you just gonna, like, stand in the middle and scream, people want money to go fight people?
Hey,
like,
you know people in Market Row. I know the dregs.
Okay.
You
I
let
don't,
me handle that.
I don't know people in Market Hill.
Or where it is you live.
Thanks. Alright, well, if I live somewhere else, then it's probably not useful for me to go in, I assume, and try to recruit these people, right?
You all strongly suspect that there will be nobody to recruit, that this is probably a fool's errand.
You know what? I'm willing to go. I think this is gonna be fun entertainment.
So, well, I'll back you up. But is it going to be worthwhile for me to be there? I don't.
Okay, is this what you want to do, leader?
We told Hiram that we'd try to help him with his uncle, and if this is what he thinks is the way, because I don't have any other ideas right at this moment.
Okay. So...
Unless someone else has an idea.
I say okay when it's not okay.
You're writing!
Alright, so I say earlier, I want to help your uncle.
Mm-hmm.
I have big concern with when we free your uncle and we go, okay, everything done, good, strong. They just come back.
Yep.
So I think we should come up with your plan of liberation is okay. I mean, we get lots of people, angry people, go in, fight and push them out. but I think he should have something to remain there.
That's what I told you. That's Tilligan's problem, or at least Hiram tomorrow's problem.
Well, so days are really blending together, and I think Hiram
telling me.
tomorrow and Hiram today might be the same person.
No. But I'll run with it a second. Okay, so we got extra money. Yeah, we'll just use that.
Yeah, I don't know money's gonna solve this problem. I mean, it's just a thought.
I wouldn't know. I never had money too much.
See, the thing is, and I don't have a lot, but I've had some, and I still have the problem in front of me.
Well, you're just raining on my parade then, aren't you? You have
No.
any solution for it? You're just gonna poo-poo everything I say. Well,
Right?
let's just try it out. What's the worst that could happen?
How many men do you think that you'll need to take this place back?
I don't
Temporarily
know.
so that it can be taken
I'm not a
back.
general. Just let me do my thing.
So you want to lead a bunch of people, but you admit you're not a general.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to follow a thought process here.
I hadn't thought that far ahead.
Yeah, see, that's the problem. See, tomorrow, Hiram, I'm gonna want to slap him. And I'm trying to avoid the tomorrow slap, because today Hiram's not gonna like me slapping tomorrow Hiram when he gets us all killed, because he didn't think this through. That's my thought process. See,
Okay.
I'm thinking that one out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I want to help your uncle. I think if we get more people on our side by helping other people in other areas, it's more likely that we can get them to come help us get your uncle's place back. Instead of trying to possibly pay people that may just well go, you have money, and then jump us. Because we just yelled we have money to pay people things.
So you're saying we get loyal people?
Yeah, that seems like a better idea to me.
Okay, so
And then those people help us take it back instead of us walking in and going, I have 5 gold crowns. Who's going to help? Oh, God, why are you stepping on my neck? See, that's how I feel that's going to go. I don't know the dregs, but you tell me if I'm wrong. Yeah,
well,
thought
I
so.
mean, we can leave the money at the big quarries and come back and get it.
Yeah, if you can't show it, are they going to believe you have it?
Yeah, here you go, talking reason.
Okay, so it's raining, and Celsius said that people keep taking bodies while it's raining, and I was just thinking, it's like 6 p.m. I don't know why I looked like I have a watch, but, you know, so I'm thinking we should maybe go there.
Doesn't set well with me. Poor old Tilligan.
I mean, we could always check to see if there's any more bodies missing.
That's what I'm thinking. And I want to go save Tilligan, but once again, us going in there and dying is only going to make a mess that Tilligan has to clean up. And I don't think that's helping.
and besides, maybe somehow or another, this solution will help us with your solution.
Like I said, we make friends. Friends help us kill people.
That's a roundabout way of going at it. What kind of silly plan is that?
She did promise us payment.
She did say more money.
Yeah, maybe we can rustle up the Night's Watch. Convince them to do it. If we
Look,
pay them enough.
We went to go save a dog, and we made a judge our friend, and a dead lady who sweats too much. Well, she's not dead. Like, she likes dead. I don't know if she likes. Okay, the one that messes with dead people likes us now, and so does the judge.
All right, you got me convinced.
There you go. Let's go.
So we'll strike out toward the cemetery or the House of Augurs, in the middle.
You're not quite sure where in that line of reasoning it made sense to him, but
Right in the middle of a
You keep talking, you make drunks realize that they don't know what they're
of a
talking
pretty
about.
terrible rainstorm, and that's when you kind of like, or wait, you kind of put it together like this is probably the longest we've actually been at Big Corey's pub since the heist in Aramore's parlor. And it's raining. It's raining all right. It's a kind of a long driving uncomfortable storm outside. And every once in a while you can see the flash of lightning amid the clouds, which is strangely comforting given the fact that you can't see the stars of the moon. And the rain is just coming down as you're walking along the cloud-borne roads of Bardstown. And you know that you're kind of near the central bridge where the dinger is, that giant bell that they ring in case of like the city's on fire. You know the night watch station is probably somewhere nearby, and you're beginning to head toward the dregs, and that's when you get this kind of sinking feeling that you're being followed. At first it was just people hanging out underneath the eaves of the buildings that are near Bardstown, and maybe it was just patrons of other pubs and wine sinks that are open around here. Hell, maybe it's the night watch actually doing their damn job in Slaughter Pine. Mm-hmm. But before you know it, you find yourselves in a situation that you know you're probably going to have to cut your way out of, as you've got a small handful, but a rather large handful of people who started to tail you, and suddenly you realize there's a gang of people right behind you. What you're going to do about it, we'll find out next week on Memento Mori, whether you face them down, whether you run away, but you have a sinking feeling who it is. And they've been waiting for just the right moment to leave upon you.
It's a giant spider masquerading as a gang of people.
Oh God, it's
It must be!
It looks like a butt person, but it's really just a leg.
Yeah, it's that giant spider back to get me.
So,
Defeat it with the power of
It's
friendship.
4 people and then 1 fat guy in the middle, and that's the spider.
yeah, no kidding. Obviously, I don't know if you guys gave yourselves your 25 reward points at the beginning of the game session for the
Nope, I
thing we
forgot.
did, but sure do that. And we played for almost 3 hours until there's 75. So I think that's some corruption tonight for people. Remember, if you didn't gain any corruption, you can move either direction toward order ranks or chaos ranks, entirely up to you. Who got corruption tonight? How much do you have?
7.
1.
Ugh. Okay. The roll for tonight is 1.
Wow.
I literally rolled.
Nice.
I rolled a 1.
You know, I have not gotten an order yet. I've only gotten chaos.
Oh, that's a 1 right there.
You could. The thought of you leaving Hiram's uncle high and dry just didn't sit well.
It did not.
Yeah.
I feel horrible.
Just out of curiosity, how close are you to disorder? Anyone?
Me? I'm at 6 chaos.
Oh God!
Same.
Wow. Anybody else close to fate?
I'm pretty even.
Fire.
Uh-huh. What about for Chuckles?
I am
Can I see her?
5 and 4.
Wow. Yeah. We're on the edge. So let's talk about tonight. Obviously we didn't have Eagles Dobb or Wilson Thorne here, which actually worked out pretty fine. We know that this is kind of like a catch-up episode. Like we heard game session, we had some kind of the aftermath of what happened with Merrill Bosco and Rufus, making new alliances within the city with the chief augur, Celsia Turnlip. Some other shenanigans happening in the graveyard. Maybe a little bit more about the kind of what the role the augurs are in the city, their role with respect to what happens with the dead in the city, and then what's happened since the coming of the Eternal Night. Things are clearly strange and curious, and as is odd in most Zweihander games, like you live normal everyday lives until something really strange happened, and your paths were changed differently, and this is that moment for your characters. So let's talk a little bit about that. Let's talk about what's going on in your character's mind from that perspective. Let's start first with Chuckles.
Chuckles is surprised that people aren't as shocked. Like he imagined this, like, you know, big reveal and everybody be like, oh my god, you know, like Chuckles, the man behind the mask, and people just don't, like, haven't even paid any attention or reacted, and so it's like, it's a little humbling for him, you know, because he thought, oh, it's this big secret. And then, like, so that's interesting. The other thing, at the beginning of the session, he was feeling pretty good because he was, you know, he had overcome whatever was keeping him back from creating this mask, and so he was really leaning into his charity alignment, which is why he was like, okay, I'm going to do everything I can to, like, you know, patch things up with Celsnia, because, you know, the thing was that she didn't like him, not that he didn't like her.
Right,
you know?
right.
So that's kind of where he is, and he's overall in, like, a better and lighter mood. And so that's like him. He's feeling like a little more like he can come out of his shell. So that's where he is for the most part.
Yep. So 25 reward points. Let's move next to Lester. Les Killjoy.
Yeah, I mean, Lester's mostly just confused. He's like, what are we gonna do, right? Like, there's no real work to be had, so I guess, like, you know, doing the jobs for the Holy Lady, you know, it seems like a good idea because it pays well, you know, and doing work for, you know, Hiram's uncle seems like a bad idea because he doesn't pay anything. He doesn't have anything, really. And plus, it's probably going to get killed. And Lester didn't survive all those years on the field just to die in some bar fight. No offense.
Right.
So, but he's looking forward mostly to talking about Reggie, because I made a backstory for Reggie.
That's great.
So
I love it. 25 reward points. Let's move next to Hiram.
So Hiram is, I mean, this is a pretty big change from my last character, who was the party leader, I feel like. Mainly in the way that he just is kind of directionless. He doesn't really kind of living moment to moment, doesn't have an overall goal per se.
Like flotsam or driftwood.
Yeah, he kind of just floats along and enjoys the present as best he can. But he does seem to have an attachment to his uncle, and he really does want to get this thing done, but he doesn't have a mind for planning whatsoever. And then the whole thing with the vision or dream or whatever you want to call it, he just didn't set right with him. He thought it was a fluke or something, so he didn't really pay any mind. He probably should have said something at the beginning, but you know, his chaos alignment is mayhem, so it just didn't seem. It didn't really make sense to do it in an orderly fashion. So, you know, he's kind of just drifting along, and I think hopefully something in the story is going to try to point him towards a higher purpose, but for now he's kind of he's doing his iron is weak, gold is strong. So he's got his goal, and he feels strong and ready to take on the world.
That's good. 25 reward points. Yeah, remember your chaos alignment is, it's not something just strictly personal. It's like people know your critical weakness. Your friends know your weakness.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They know this about Hiram, that he is just aimless, not a planner, and he will tend to let just kind of things fall apart just to see something done. That's the meaning of mayhem. Sometimes they'll purposefully drive other people toward that too. Like he's just that kind of person.
You saw him goading, Sabella on over and over again about this harebrained plot, and it was just talking in circles. So definitely, maybe I've been messing with you a little bit.
So let's turn next to Lady Sabella, or final next Lady Sabella. Last but not least.
So, funnily enough, that's kind of what I've been relying on is my chaos alignment, because as I stated, I am way farther into chaos than I am into order right now.
What's your chaos alignment?
Martyrdom. So when Hiram's over here pushing for this is what we need to do, like she's trying, because her order is candor, so she tries to like find like ways to be like, look, this is why this is a bad idea, but when he's pushing for it, she's like, but I could save him, and that's like kind of the thought that starts going through her head until somebody can snap her back out of it. Because like I said, you know, in the beginning, one of her weaknesses is she does, like, people take advantage of her sometimes if she doesn't step up for herself. Because funnily enough, she also has the drawback of being lily-livered.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. So occasionally, like, she can be kind of cowed down, and I think Hiram knows that to a bit, and he kind of uses it.
Kind of like browbeating her down, like
yeah, and
come around.
So like she, in theory, is a good leader so long as somebody can kind of step up and be like, "Hey," for like a second, so she can get back into like mode, which is what she had Chuckles doing over there to the side.
Yeah.
Kind of telling her, hey, and that snapped her back into actually thinking rationally. But like she's proud that they managed to like save Rufus in a manner, that actually worked. Shockingly, she has no idea what she's messing with at this point, because like this whole like religion and spell thing, like she grew up guarding a mining town. Like, she has no idea what the hell this stuff is. Mm-hmm. So she's just kind of going with it and trying to hope that, like, she doesn't lead everybody into death or chaos or both, or,
Yeah.
And if she does, that she can be the first one to go down at least.
Fair enough. So, okay, so that's 25 reward points. So I think we'll wrap up here. This was session 5. We will continue next week. Nick will be out in Portlandia.
Sarah will be out too.
Sarah will be out for the bar. That's right, but we will play nonetheless.
Maybe Tim's hole will be patched up.
Yeah, God, I hope so. I'm sure they get that done tonight. They're in the middle of framing out that wall before storms. But we'll be back next week to play. Of course, you can watch this every week on dark.zweihander.game. Otherwise, we will see you all next week. And I'll have my Elgato next week. Ooh. Goodbye. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Bye. Bye.